Hello everyone, welcome to Game Sense with Himu. Didn't think my first analysis video would be on the losing cause of Barcelona. But yeah, it's football. Winning and losing are part and parcel of the game. It's just that we were so used to Barcelona losing all these last few years. And when Hansi Flick came this season and brought that winning mentality with him to the team and gave the fans a little hope, not a little actually, huge hope with the style of play, with the mentality of the players, and with winning so many games and going for an exceptional treble, that we are very sad today that Barcelona is out of Champions League race. Barcelona lost yesterday and Inter Milan goes through to the final of the Champions League 24-25 season. And we are here to analyze the game. The game started very well. San Siro Stadium was packed. Fans were jumping around and the atmosphere was electric. Barca started very well. In the initial minutes itself, Lamine Yamal was creating havoc down the right-hand side of Barcelona. He released an outside of the brook trademark pass to Ferran Torres, which Ferran was found marginally offside. And then they were easily finding spaces in the initial 5 to 10 minutes in between inter players. And they were able to create few chances here and there. But then Inter came back strongly. I didn't expect Inter to press us so hard. Inter usually sits back and tries to counter. But here, yesterday, Flick Inzaghi used his tactical mind and Inter pressed us so hard that there was no ball with more time in Pedri's feet or Dani Olmo's feet at Lamine Yamal's feet. They have closed down the middle of the park completely so that Pedri or Dani Olmo or Ferran Torres, when he drops back, can't operate freely. People were jumping around on the Barcelona player who has the ball. So Inter's pressure was very hard. But then Barcelona were trying to build through the diagonals. As we have seen whole season, our fullbacks, not the starting fullbacks of course, because Balde on the left back and Kunde on the right back, who were starting for Barcelona in every match, are out with injury for yesterday's match. And Gerard Martin and Eric Garcia were playing there. But the style of play and the tactics that Hansi Flick used and wanted to use were similar. Gerard Martin plays inside diagonal towards Dani Olmo. Eric Garcia plays inside diagonal to Dani Olmo. And Dani Olmo has Ferran and Rafinha on the left who are providing runs. And Lamine or Pedri on the right who are providing runs and who are available to take the ball from him. Dani Olmo plays a single one-touch pass to them and the play progresses forward. Gerard to Dani to Ferran, Eric to Dani to Lamine, we have seen these progresses yesterday. Eric Garcia stood out in the whole game yesterday. Replacing Kunde on the right back and producing that performance is commendable. He was always there alongside Lamine, helping him in attack, defending, which he always does. And then he was always intercepting the balls on the left side of Inter Milan. Passes from Di Marco and passes from Mkhitaryan. He was always there to win the ball that side. And Eric Garcia scored a vital goal also in the second half. When we come, how did Inter score their goal? It was a split second positional loss. Barcelona plays on the ball, with the ball. If they lose possession in difficult areas, in not suitable areas for them where they are ready to counter pressure and get the ball back, the opposition will take care of the high line of Barca. So Dani Olmo lost the ball there. It was a bit of a chaotic situation there where Inter were winning and Barcelona were winning the ball back, and then Dani Olmo got the ball there, but he lost the ball where we expect him to win the ball, to come out of the pressure and pass it to Pedri, but he wasn't able to at that point. And Dimarco wins the ball, plays the ball through to Dumfries in the middle, who managed to stay onside, and Dumfries easily crossed it across the field to Lautaro, who had an open goal to him. And suddenly it was Inter 1, Barca 0. We tried to create our own attacks. We went for a few counter attacks. Dani Olmo ran with the ball for a counter attack once after the goal. And Rafinha and Ferran were trying to come for the run, give a run for him to pass the ball, but Dani Olmo finally goes for the shot and he misses. It goes for a corner. And then Eric Garcia from the right hand side, along with Lamine Yamal, were providing pinpoint crosses towards the center of the box, where Ferran and Rafinha were waiting. Eric Garcia sent a ball to Ferran, where Ferran was slightly imbalanced and touched the ball towards the goal, which deflects off Rafinha to a goal kick. Again, Lamine Yamal. He played, man. Both these legs, he was a standout player. He completed more than 10 dribbles yesterday. We used to see Messi and Neymar do such things long back for Barcelona. Lamine is there now. Lamine goes for a shot with his weak foot on the counter while receiving a pass from Rafinha. And then Ferran was there at the back post, but he couldn't touch the ball into the post. Then right at the first half end, Barcelona conceded a penalty. At first I thought it was a bit harsh. Pau Cubarsí went forward, went ahead of Lautaro Martinez and tried to tackle on the ball. But Lautaro, being exceptional he is, having that presence of mind, and just put his leg in between Pau Cubarsí and the ball. He was trying to get that penalty there, and he gets that penalty there, and he was right. Çalhanoğlu comes to take the penalty, and he buries it into the corner. And there was a small fight between Acerbi, Inigo, and few other players into the end of the first half. And then Barcelona were trailing 2-0 down at the end. So the second half started. Hansi Flick was very angry at the first half end because of all the fight that was happening, because of the penalty that was given, which he thought it was not a penalty. But then, the second half, Barcelona have started very, very well. Frenkie de Jong started to go back into the center of the defensive line, where Inigo, Frenkie and Cubarsí have played. For Frenkie to receive the ball in the first phase and progress the ball forward, where Pedri was dropping between the strikers of Inter Milan and the midfield line. Pedri was dropping in between them, and Dani Olmo was covering for Pedri while coming back. And then Barcelona were able to control the ball more, able to progress the ball more. The goal comes in one more attack through Pedri. Pedri carries the ball forward. Frankie carries the ball forward, passes it to Pedri. Pedri tries for a shot. It comes back to him, and he passes it over to Gerard Martin on the left, who crosses it first time, which Bisek intercepts. But he goes for the cross again, where there Eric Garcia was waiting to throw a thunderous volley into the goalpost, far corner. And it was suddenly Inter Milan 2, Barcelona 1. And the comeback was on. We have seen Barcelona make these type of comebacks in this season alone so many times. And Barcelona didn't give up. They started the comeback. Then again, Inter Milan got a corner and Barcelona counter-attacked from there. Lamine Yamal passed it over to Gerard Martin, which Pedri has left to him. And Gerard Martin runs with the ball and passes it to Pedri back. Pedri, with Eric Garcia on the right, passes it back to Gerard Martin. And Gerard Martin, inside the box, crosses it to Eric Garcia, who had an open goal to aim at. He could have gone and shot the ball a little towards the right end, where he was present. But I don't know if he loses the balance or something, but he shoots it to the center of the goal. Still, Sommer was excellent to stop that. Sommer was towards the left where Gerard Martin was there, but when Gerard Martin crossed it, he immediately got up and dived towards his left to stop the shot from Eric Garcia. That was a very good save. But then, immediately after that, we got our second goal. We got our equalizing goal. Gerard Martin again, from a little bit inside of the field, crossed it over to Dani Olmo. There were many players waiting there. There was Ferran, there was Rafinha, there was Dani Olmo providing the runs. Dani Olmo slightly behind the defenders so that he goes into the blind spot. Gerard Martin crosses it perfectly to Dani Olmo, and Dani Olmo scores a header. And Barcelona has come back and equalized the score. Then Barcelona was going for it. It was under the control of Barcelona. The players were riding on the momentum that they have come back. Rafinha got a free kick. They tried to play it differently, smartly. Rafinha played a short pass to Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo laid it off to Lamine, who stayed back, and Lamine goes for the shot towards the far corner, which was going for the goal post, but Frenkie de Jong, unfortunately, was in the way, and the ball gets deflected for a goal kick. And then Lamine Yamal, as usual, was causing havoc across the whole game. Lamine turns, draws the defenders, passes them, dribbles against them, and then goes for a curling shot towards the far corner, which Sommer incredibly saves by diving and getting his fingertips on it. Lamine Yamal could have scored an exceptional goal there. The whole game, at the start, DiMarco was very physical while going against Lamine Yamal. The referee was allowing him and not giving him the fouls, and DiMarco was utilizing it very well by being very physical at the start. But then Lamine took care of that slowly, and he has grown into that game, and he started toying with DiMarco and Mkhitaryan and Bastoni on the right. By seeing that, Simeone Inzaghi was very proactive in substitutions yesterday. He brought out DiMarco at just 55 minutes and brought in Carlos Augusto. And then they also brought Lautaro and Bisek out. Lautaro, who just came from an injury into this game, he was not even training till day before yesterday. He only trained on the game day, and he directly started He scored the first goal. He caused the penalty for the second goal. What an MVP performance from him. You can see why he is one of the best strikers in the world currently. So Inzaghi brings Lautaro and Bisek out. And still Barcelona were not doing, Hansi Flick was not doing any substitution. His first substitution was around 75th minute, where he brought Araujo for Inigo. Even that was because Inigo was having a slight discomfort in his hamstrings. And also to stop Marcus Thuram from winning all the headers and all the second balls when coming from the defenders over the top of the Barcelona players. Hansi Flick brought in Araujo, which he failed to do so. We'll come to it later. Then how did the third goal come? Barcelona's comeback goal. Pedri passes it over to Rafinha on the left-hand side from a Barcelona counter-attack. And Rafinha goes for the shot, which Acerbi tries to close the angle of the goal. His shot goes straight at Sommer. It comes back to him. And he goes for another shot with his right foot. And he scores the goal into the far corner. Ferran Torres was right at the end of the goal post there. But he very consciously, having the presence of mind in the game there, left the ball to roll over into the goal, knowing that he is offside. And Barcelona were elated. The whole stadium was stunned. The Inter Milan fans were crying, and Barcelona away stand was jumping in joy. Rafinha thought he had won the game for Barca, but not to be. Lamine had another chance to actually bury the game and make it 4-2 to Barca and progress them to the final, but he hits the post. Slightly in, and that would have been done and dusted, but not the case. And then Inter were going for the attack. Inter were trying hard to get that third goal back, to get that equalizing goal. And Acerbi, being a defender, centre back, stayed forward, went for the striker position. So again, with the same tactic, ball came over the field from the defender to Marcus Thuram. Even with Araujo in there, he couldn't win the header over Marcus Thuram. Thuram won the ball, passed it over to Barella. Barella passed it over to Dumfries for his run, where Gerard Martin did well initially to intercept the ball, but Dumfries shrugs him off and wins the ball back to pass it over to Acerbi, who goes for a near post shot, and it's a comeback goal for Inter Milan. But there is a slight controversy here, guys. Was there a foul by Dumfries on Gerard Martin there? VAR didn't check it properly. We were not shown any slow motion videos for that foul, and the goal was given. But when the images came out, when the slow motion videos came out in the social media later, it was clear that Dumfries stepped on Gerard Martin's foot, and it should have been a foul. The immediate pass after that action was the goal. So the VAR should have checked that foul and should have cancelled that goal. But nothing's going to happen now, guys. Inter Milan has equalized and taken the game to the extra time. Inside the extra time, Inter Milan was riding on that momentum. They were going for the attack. They were having the ball. They were pressuring Barca. Barcelona players were tired. They played whole 90 minutes with only one single substitution. and their legs were worn out. In the extra time, again, ball over the top. Frenkie wasn't able to win the header, and Thuram gets the ball. Thuram toys around with Araujo. Araujo, being the most physical defender in Barcelona, being the leader of the back, being the second captain, being fresh, just coming in as a substitute and not able to overcome Thuram was a shame. Thuram toyed around, reminding of that Messi's toying around of Croatia in the semi-finals of World Cup 2022. And he just passes it over to Taremi, where Taremi, with the back towards the goal, lays it off to Fratesi. Fratesi took his time and curled it over into the far post. Inter Milan 4, Barcelona 3. Barcelona's defense there was not proper. Kubarsi, Araujo, and Szczesny, all the three were along the same line, and there was no one at the far post. And Fratesi brilliantly curled the ball into the far post. And then Inter started sitting back completely. Barcelona had their chances. Lamine was trying his best. Lamine was dribbling from the right, and Hansi Flick brought in Lewandowski for his crosses. He crossed it over. Lewandowski was there to win the header. Lewandowski wins the header, but he shoots it, heads it over the bar. That was a chance. Lewandowski, being the striker he is, being the name he was, should have scored that. And then, right at the end, Lamine Yamal goes for a brilliant shot again, which comes after a counter-attack from Barcelona. And Sommer dives his full length towards his right and just gets his fingertips to deflect the ball outside. And Barcelona gets a corner there, which they were not successful in utilizing. And the game was done. Barcelona are out of the Champions League from the semi-finals, and Inter Milan are going to play in Munich. They are awaiting their opponent from the PSG versus Arsenal game that's going to happen tonight, where PSG are already leading 1-0 and they are going to play at home. It's going to be very tough for Arsenal to get a win out of that. And let's see who gets into the final to play against Inter Milan. All the best to Inter Milan. They played their hearts out. They gave their 100%, 120% into the game. They pressured Barcelona players very well, especially in the first half and then in the extra time. They didn't allow free time towards our most creative players, and they worked hard for it. Their mentality, Thuram playing the whole game, whole 120 minutes, and still winning the ball at the end of the extra time and winning the fouls for his team, was a commendable job. So that's there. Barcelona's treble hopes were lost, but still Barcelona has already won 2 domestic cups and they are right in contention to win the league, where they are already 4 points on lead over their rivals Real Madrid. Barcelona has the match against Real Madrid this weekend, which they need to shift their focus on as soon as possible. They have to come out of this disappointment by taking a day off and focusing completely for the remaining season on winning the league. Hope for the best, Barcelona will be there next season at the same spot and hopes to win it the next campaign. Visca Barça. Thank you, everyone.